Wow. I am eagerly hooked on Cobra Kai. I'm eagerly excited for what is going to come in the next season. But before I get into that, I'll talk about where it all began. The Karate Kid, which starred Ralph Macchio, Pat Morita, which came out in 1984. You know what it's about? How Mr. Miyagi teaches Daniel karate because he's being bullied at school, and has him fight in the karate tournament, etc. It was a great film. It was the biggest surprise hit of that year. I was a big fan of it. I saw it in theaters. Oh, am I getting old? And I was eagerly surprised when I found out there was going to be a sequel to Karate Kid Part 2, which came out in '86. I don't know why I didn't feel it left much open for a sequel, but the sequel was written up. And it didn't prove to be as good as the original. It was even better. I mean, we learn more about Miyagi, the secrets of his past, and he has an old rival with Sato, and Sato's nephew is also his student. He's also become Daniel's new tormentor. I mean, he had no reasons to torment Daniel, but we're not going to get into that. And the fight scenes were good, and it didn't even prove to be as good as the original. It was even better. Then, 3 years later, came Karate Kid Part 3. Only one thing I could say about that film. Yeah, Ralph Macchio was over the top. Pat Morita was still good as Mr. Miyagi. Just storyline was pretty dumb. The only one who also makes it memorable was Thomas Ian Griffith as the villain who's tricking Daniel. But other than that, the film was just ooh, ugh. And then 5 years later came the next Karate Kid, which starred Hilary Swank, and Pat Morita reprises his role as Mr. Miyagi. And I didn't really hate that movie. It was pretty good. Well, it wasn't great like the first film. It was good. It wasn't nothing special, but it was enjoyable to watch. It really was. I mean, at times it did feel like a rehash of the first film, but it's enjoyable. I wouldn't say it was the worst. I mean, I like the fact Ralph Macchio's not in it, but I still enjoyed it. I never did see the 2010 remake that starred Jackie Chan and Jaden Smith, but I really have no interest in seeing that, really. And when I heard there was going to be a Cobra Kai series, I went, really? And the fact that Ralph Macchio, who of course played Daniel LaRusso, and William Zabka, who played the bully Johnny Lawrence from the first film, both would be reprising their roles. And I'm like, really? Oh boy, how are they going to work around this, I wonder. And I know I see the trailers at first. The trailers are quite deceiving, making me think Johnny's the hero and Daniel's the antagonist. Well, it does kind of come across that way. It really does, but in some spots. But okay, I'll get in that in a moment. What the series is about, it shows the main focus this time is on Johnny Lawrence, who is pretty much down in the dumps. He works as a repairman, lives in a crappy apartment. He's divorced, and his teenage son Robbie wants absolutely nothing to do with him. But you kind of understand why. I mean, at the beginning of part 2, where he gets second place, and John Kreese, his mentor, tells him, "You're nothing, you're lost, you're a loser," and tries to choke him. You think something like that could have a positive effect on somebody as years to come. I mean, they begin to think they're no good at anything, and Johnny is pretty much a prime example of that. Daniel LaRusso it owns a successful car ownership. It's called LaRusso Autos. Oh, in honor of his master Miyagi, he always offers a bonsai tree to his customers. And Johnny gets fired from his job as a repairman because he cursed out a customer. Well, didn't curse her out. He just said, "Why don't you stop? Don't act all bitchy." And she took it as he was calling her a bitch, which she was, behaving like a bitch. Anybody would want to curse her out, but it's never good to curse out a customer, even though they probably deserve it. And Johnny accidentally gets his car wrecked by a couple of rowdy teenagers. One of them ends up being Daniel's daughter in the car. Wow. And when Johnny finds out his car was taken to LaRusso Autos, he tries to get it transferred somewhere else, and Daniel sees him. "Hey Johnny, how's it going?" Then two of his coworkers come. "Hey man, is this the guy's butt you kicked?" And Daniel just kind of rudely rubs that in at Johnny's expense. He says, "Well, I kicked his face." And Johnny feels defensive because she's just there humiliating this poor guy. And Johnny feels defensive because of that. He goes, "It was an illegal kick." But after they leave, things start to summon down, and Daniel offers to do it for free because he feels Johnny can't afford it. And Johnny's like, "I don't need your pity." See, Johnny's feeling like I don't want to be a sympathy case, and Daniel wants to help him because, well, mainly because I think he pities him. Yeah. Now, even though Johnny's is living in the dumps, Daniel's the complete opposite. He has a success, like I said, he has his own car dealership. He's happily married with 2 kids, and life could be good. But for Johnny, things are gonna start to look up. One night when he's getting a beer, he sees these bullies picking on this poor kid named Miguel, and when they try to get on his car, he says, "Watch the car," and they push him, "Just get out of here, old man." And Johnny uses what he learned. He kicks the crap out of those bullies. The next day, Miguel comes to him in the apartment, who also lives in the apartment building, and says, "Hey, what is that stuff? Is it kung fu?" "It's karate. Could you teach me some of it?" And in some ways, that kind of makes Johnny realize what karate meant to him as a kid, and he just, in a way, rediscovers that. So he goes to Miguel later and says, "Are you prepared to go all the way?" "I'm prepared." "You could be my teacher?" "No, I'm going to be your sensei." And Johnny buys a building in the strip mall and calls it Cobra Kai. Of course, Daniel sees it and doesn't know what to think. Then Daniel gets wind that Johnny beat up a bunch of teenagers. Of course, Daniel doesn't know the whole reason. He just knows what the guy told him. He's associated with her. The guy was associated with her daughter, Sam. Although Sam was not with them when that incident occurred. So he goes to confront Johnny about the incident. Johnny tells him what happened, but of course Daniel doesn't believe him because he's Johnny. So I guess you kind of say the feud resumes after that. And okay, I gotta say I really enjoyed the series. I enjoyed watching Ralph Macchio and William Zabka back into their roles. Although, I gotta say this, seeing Ralph Macchio in the role of Daniel, but for a few moments in the beginning, it didn't feel like Daniel. It just didn't. It didn't feel like the Daniel I remember, of course. But as it went on, he started to become the Daniel I remembered. I guess it seemed to be not too easy of Ralph Macchio to get back. It took him a while just to really get a beat on playing Daniel again. You know, for a while I was really surprised he did this because I figured after Karate Kid 3 he said, "That was it, I'm done, I don't want to do this anymore." But I guess over the years, I guess he's made peace with it, with that story and that in the character and what it meant to a lot of people and what it means today. But so he was good as Daniel. William Zabka as Johnny. They're completely different from Ralph Macchio. When he gets back in the role of Johnny, it almost feels like he never left. It just that's what's so cool about his acting. It feels like he just never left the character. You know, for a while after Karate Kid, he was getting kind of typecast for playing these bully antagonist-like characters. He did manage to get away from it. He didn't know karate prior to being cast in the Karate Kid movie, but he continued after the film was done. He continued with the Karate Kid training. I think he's now a black belt. And his story arc is almost similar to what was in the first Karate Kid. I mean, the character Miguel looks almost like is almost similar to Daniel. They live in an apartment building. He's a repairman, and although I don't think Johnny does really warm up to Miguel as quickly as Miyagi did. And when he trains Miguel, he is no Miyagi. No, he doesn't train him to find peace within himself. He trains Miguel to find the warrior within himself. These are just pretty good, intense training montages he puts Miguel through, and Miguel takes it pretty well. He doesn't whine. Well, one time he did. During one training session, and he had Johnny on the ground, and Johnny pulled a cheap shot routine on him, and he goes, "What the heck, man? That was unfair." And Johnny tells him, "You think you're going to have opponents that play fair? You always got to prepare to expect the unexpected." And as it goes on, the two establish a bond with each other. I mean, Miguel doesn't have a father, and Johnny's son, Robbie, who wants nothing to do with him, completely shuts him out because Johnny gave up on him. Like I said, it's because of what Kreese said. "You're nothing, you lost, you're a loser." That could have an impact on you in many years to come. I don't think the series is trying to make you feel sympathy for Johnny. It's just trying to make you understand him a little better, why he acted the way he did in the first film. Even though Daniel was the hero in the first three movies, there are moments in the series that doesn't make him come across as likable. I mean, some things he does pretty underhanded that make you say that was pretty despicable. I like Daniel's wife in the show. She kind of becomes the voice of reason. She'd be the type of person to say, "Hey, y'all are not in high school anymore. Grow up." She'd be the type of person to say that. And she's tough and really stands her ground. I also like the multiple storylines the series has. There's also Robbie, Johnny's son, who goes to work for Daniel at his car shop just to get back at his father. And Robbie does kind of start out as kind of a despicable scoundrel of a character, and he does kind of want to do this just to make his dad mad. But the more he gets to know Daniel LaRusso, the more he has a deep respect for him, and the more the guilt begins to get to him. I also like the way the series does show that Johnny's not all bad. The scene I did like is when he tries to talk to his son about ditching school and tries to reach out to him, but Robbie just completely shuts him out, and then in that same episode, an episode earlier, Miguel got into a fight and got his butt kicked, and Johnny helped him home, and Miguel's mother was mad at Johnny because she blamed him, even though Miguel never really blamed his sensei. He says, "It's not his fault, I wasn't ready. I was totally unprepared." And after Robbie, and he tells Johnny to go away and leave me alone. Don't ever come back in my life. Miguel quickly goes back to Miguel's apartment. His mom answers the door, and she says to her, "I'm sorry. I messed up. I failed your son, but I don't want to fail him again. I promise I won't fail him again. He's the best student so far, and I really need him." And she shuts the door without answering him, and then she turns to her mother and she says in Spanish, "I like him." Of course, in the next episode, the training montage begins again. I really like Miguel as a character. I mean, and I don't know what they're gonna have for season 2. Okay, I'll get to season 2 in a minute. I really like the relationship he builds with Sam LaRusso, of course, Daniel's daughter. And then it sort of becomes a forbidden romance because Daniel doesn't like anybody associated with Cobra Kai. And it's like, in that relationship, I hated to see it go sour because I liked the chemistry between Sam and Miguel, and you kind of knew it was going to go sour because of Sam not having the courage to tell her father, "Oh, he's my boyfriend. I don't care who his sensei is. I like him. And if you don't like him, then that's your problem." See, she's not gonna. She didn't have the guts to say that, and over a misunderstanding at a party, he gets jealous of Robbie because Robbie took her there. She didn't take Tiki. She took him there, and he gets a little misunderstanding. And he gets into it with Robbie, and he accidentally hits Sam, and she thinks he deliberately hit her, in which, of course, we all know it was an accident. We all know he didn't mean to hit her. Will a relationship between her and Robbie will the relationship between Sam and Robbie start? You want to know the truth? I hope not, because I didn't feel there was much of a. I don't think they had much chemistry like Sam and Miguel had. And of course, there is a karate tournament. Oh, okay, I'll get to that in a moment. The character Allie, played by Elizabeth Shue, the girlfriend from the first film, she's constantly referenced. And then one day, when he and Johnny are just having a friendly conversation at a bar, he tells him about, he looked her up on Facebook, she's married to a doctor. That kind of completes her story arc, but they're still throwing hints that she might appear in next season. Well, the truth is, if they do, I hope they have a good reason for her to appear. I mean, if she's just in it just to be in it, that doesn't solve anything. Well, they said she's a doctor now, and she's married to a doctor, so if they're going to have a good reason for her to appear in the series, I hope it's a good one. And there's a karate tournament and all that, and of course, I really liked the way Johnny was three-dimensional in that part. I mean, he kind of seemed like he was trying his best not to turn into his old mentor, John Kreese, because he was trying to be tough but fair of a teacher, and he proves that well, especially in the episode where he calls his new students a bunch of losers. And then he remembers his childhood and how he was once like that, treated that way too, and then he just shows, yeah, you were all losers, because I was a loser once. Karate changed me as I hope it'll change you. I thought that was a good turnaround. And during the karate tournament, he sees Miguel he's fighting his son. He's trying not to show any emotion. And then when Miguel appears to be going too far, he tells Miguel, "I want you to fight. I want you to win, but I want it to be fair, not dirty." There's no other way to win, Miguel says. I also like the scene where when one of his students accidentally injures his son, he goes up to his son to see if he's okay. See, that shows he's a very three-dimensional character because he still cares for his son even though his son shut him out. And there are a few callbacks to the original Karate Kid. I mean, they show a lot of flashbacks to the original film where it all began, and which I can understand. And just in case, maybe that's just in case people didn't see the original film, you could see where this originated from. Although the scene where Daniel stops at his old apartment building where he first moved, I don't know if that was just a show to reminisce, but I don't know what was the real purpose of that scene. Maybe it was just to show more, but I don't know if it was really needed. It was just in there to be in there. You know, for a second, I thought the apartment building Johnny and Miguel were living in was the same apartment building that Daniel first moved into, but no, it wasn't. It was totally different. Looks nearly similar though. And you probably know about, here's the spoiler part, you probably know after Johnny wins the tournament, even though he feels he may have lost his relationship with his son, he's about to drink some whiskey, and then he hears a voice coming in the front door saying Cobra Kai was dead. But it's only just begun. And when the face comes in, it's John Kreese, his old mentor. And you can see Johnny's reaction. He really has mixed reactions about seeing him, mainly because he thought John Kreese was dead. And they did not leave on good terms 34 years ago because he called him a loser and tried to choke him. So you can understand Johnny's mixed reactions about seeing him. What do I hope is in store for season 2? Well, I don't know about the John Kreese thing. I don't know how that's gonna turn out, so I'm gonna say what I don't. I'm not gonna say what I think's gonna come of that. But Miguel, I think in the end, you kind of think he's gonna become the new bad boy of karate, like the new Mike Barnes. And I hope Sam doesn't become the new Allie that he's gonna fight over with Robbie, the love triangle sort of thing. You know what I think? I really like Miguel and Sam. Maybe this is not going to happen, but this is what I hope would happen. That he and Sam will reconcile, and just when you think Miguel's going to become the new Mike Barnes, it completely turns it around and goes in the other direction. That's what I hope. As for Robbie, I hope it appears that he's sort of forgiving his dad, and maybe the next season they'll be then on the slow path of their relationship will be on the slow path towards healing. But I hear Sean Kanan, who played Mike Barnes in Karate Kid Part 3, there's a hint he might be returning for season 2. So let's keep our fingers crossed. Well, I enjoyed Cobra Kai. I hope you will too, and hope you, if you're a Karate Kid fan, I hope if you didn't see the films that came before this, I hope you go see it just to see where it originated from. If you're a new fan discovering the show. Okay, sayonara.